Next News Breaking News.
South Carolina is about to tell the whole country where the Republican Party is headed next. And no, this is not just another governor's race. What we're watching is a live test of the law and order governing model that has defined the Trump comeback and now drives conservative victories coast to coast. Alan Wilson, he's not running on empty slogans. He's running on prosecution, immigration, enforcement, judicial accountability, and consequences for chaos. And when you line up the receipts, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. This campaign is not selling promises, it's selling enforcement. And the question is very simple. Are voters about to reward that model again? See, here's why this matters, far beyond South Carolina, because for years, Republicans talked about crime, border security, and activist judges under President Trump. That talk has hardened into action. And voters are responding to leaders who don't apologize for using the power of government to restore order. That's exactly why Alan Wilson is packaging what he's packaging in this race. He tells undecided voters he cares about affordability, quality education, and safer communities, but the way he frames it, all of it, is through enforcement. He says while other politicians were cutting ribbons and naming post offices, he was fighting as a combat veteran, a prosecutor, and attorney general. I personally met him. Great guy. And he reminds voters that he was the one who stood up for President Trump in court. And he points to judges who let violent offenders back on the street, illegal hiring schemes built on forged documents and stolen identities, and mob-style unrest pushed by extremist left-wing groups. This is not the old country club Republican pitch. This is consequences, accountability, and public order delivered without hesitation. And while we're talking about protecting your family and planning ahead, that same mindset applies to your finances as well. So if you could go back in time and buy oil before the world relied on it, would you? Well, of course you would. Anyone would. So why aren't you buying silver right now? That's the question Noble Gold Investments wants Americans asking before the next major run is already underway. See, the people who recognize oil early didn't just make money. They got ahead of one of history's biggest economic transformations, and today silver offers a similar opening. It's not just a precious metal, it's a critical resource used in solar panels, electric vehicles, defense systems, AI infrastructure, and the manufacturing base that powers the modern world. To learn why so many smart Americans are paying attention, visit nextnewsgold.com right now and see how you may qualify for a 1/10 ounce gold coin. Now back to the race that is quickly becoming a national test case for America First enforcement politics. Here's the twist the corporate media still does not want to admit. Wilson's message is landing because voters have watched too many leaders talk tough and then do absolutely nothing. See, Wilson's trying to show the opposite, not just that he supports law and order, but that he's already done the job. He says personally he took a case to the South Carolina Supreme Court to get a violent murderer locked up, back up, after a judge let him out 16 years early. See, that's not branding, that's called a record. And once you see the receipts and everything I've got stacked up, the pattern gets very hard to miss. And I was shocked this morning to receive this message from the next governor of South Carolina. He dropped a personal shout out to Next News Network, thanking me personally and asking all of our supporters, all of our viewers to get out and vote because Election Day is tomorrow and your vote for Alan Wilson makes a difference. Check this out.
Hello everyone, this is Alan Wilson. I want to give a big shout out to Next News Network and Gary Franchi for having me on their show earlier this past year during the campaign. I know all of you are big supporters of Next News Network, and while Next News Network does not do official endorsements, I'm asking you to vote for me for governor of South Carolina. I look forward to fighting for you as your next governor. The election isn't here now today. Let's go win this thing together. Thank you so much and appreciate you. God bless.
God bless you too. And yes, I got to hang out with him, interview him. We went to an event at a Cambodian Buddhist temple, actually. If you were following any of my Cambodian coverage, I was there with him at a temple, and it was just a remarkable event. So I got to really connect with him. So he didn't just ask for our support. He's showing exactly how he'd govern. Watch him lay down the law and warn left-wing warned left-wing agitators that South Carolina won't tolerate mob rule. This from Colin Rugg, posting that the South Carolina AG, Alan Wilson, threatens to throw extremist left-leaning groups in prison if they bring chaos to his state. The statement comes as Wilson leads a coalition of 19 state AGs in support of Trump's deployment of the National Guard. Now, in my interview with him, I specifically asked him about this and how he would support President Trump's move. But of course, he says it here. We will not tolerate mob rule. Check this out.
Earlier, my office put out a public safety advisory regarding upcoming protests going on around the country that are going to be coordinated with extremist left-leaning groups that are here to disrupt and vandalize local communities. I'm here to say to those people, if you come to South Carolina, if you attack law enforcement, if you attack people, if you destroy property, if you're disruptive and violent, we will come after you, we will put you in jail, we will prosecute you. There is no room for outside agitators in South Carolina. Play stupid games, you will win stupid prizes.
And while we may not officially endorse candidates, I mean, you know, sometimes we just have to come out and say, yeah, you know what? You got to get out and vote for this guy. I appreciate the couch. But hey, so that was Wilson in full prosecutor mode, promising jail for rioters. And next, he makes a broader case for governor, saying while other politicians played games, he was the one fighting for families and standing with Trump. Here's one of his posts at this debate, and he just knocked the socks off of all of his opponents. Check this out.
Good evening. I'm Alan Wilson, and I would like to start by saying, first of all, thank you to those of you who have already decided to support me in the race for governor. I would now like to speak to those of you who remain undecided. The concerns and issues that you have are the same ones that I have. Issues like affordability, quality education, and safer communities. These are important to me. While some of my opponents have been out cutting ribbons and naming post offices, I have been fighting for you as a combat veteran, as a prosecutor, and as an attorney general. I'm the only person here who had the courage to stand up and support President Trump in court. I promise you, if you elect me governor, I will bring that same fight and that same spirit to the office of governor. Thank you.
And in my interview with him, he explicitly told me how much he personally spent. I think it was about $150,000 of his own money defending his law license. They were trying to strip it from him because he was standing with President Trump on elections, and they just were relentless. They're trying to take him out, but he's still standing. And he argued that he's a fighter in the race, not just another ribbon-cutting career politician. Now he gets specific, taking aim at the South Carolina broken judicial system, pushing a plan to make judges answer to the people. And that's exactly what we need, judicial accountability.
As the only person on this stage who's actually prosecuted cases in front of judges, had to defend and protect victims from judges and defend all of your constitutional rights, no one has more of a vested interest in how judges are selected. I've spent the better part of 15 years advocating for judicial selection reform. I've written op-eds. I've lobbied the legislature. In fact, they did the most reform 2 years ago. It wasn't far enough. I agree with what Rom said. We didn't go far enough. But it was because of my efforts 2 years ago that we got some reform. As governor, I would advocate for a system where the governor has complete nominating authority over the people who select judicial nominees. Let the legislature up or down vote the judges, but if you get bad judges who are letting violent criminals out that are killing and hurting people, you can go to your House member and complain, but there's only one governor you can blame for the nomination to begin with.
So after calling for real judicial accountability, he brings receipts. Here we go, straight at a debate rival over a judge who let a violent murderer out early in the Supreme Court fight to lock him back up.
In all due respect, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You claim you're not a career politician, but you were elected in 2004, and if you're elected governor, you will be in your 80s when you leave office. That is, by definition, a career politician. Ralph, you attacked me for saying something nice about a judicial candidate. I had to go to the Supreme Court because a judge you voted for let a violent murderer out of prison 16 years earlier, and I had to go to the Supreme Court and argue that case myself to get him locked back up. Thank you for your service.
Wow. So that clash made his closing argument clear. When the system failed, he stepped in and fought. Now we shift from the debate stage to the ground game as he works the final day of the bus tour, kicking off the last day of his bus tour in our backyard in West Columbia. Tomorrow's the day. Let's finish strong. So he's on the campaign trail right now. Here he is. This is a report from, let's see, criminal networks use forged documents. This is a major case involving illegal aliens, stolen identities, and prosecutors going after the criminal network behind it. He had this to say: criminal networks use forged documents, stolen identities to put illegal aliens to work, even rehiring the same person under multiple identities. Real Americans in South Carolina were the victims. We're following the facts and going to prosecute those responsible. This just shows that he's doing the work.
Attorney General Alan Wilson explained the two managers not only failed to verify employee IDs, but helped the workers use forged identities to gain employment.
For instance, hiring the same person 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different identities because they haven't gotten the paperwork right. That kind of information. That is what we are targeting.
As a byproduct of those arrests, Wilson says Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, also detained 48 workers for alleged immigration violations.
So I want to make it clear, we are not targeting communities because of what you look like or where you work. We're targeting specific conduct. We're following the facts of that conduct. And if it leads us to a crime, we're going to prosecute that crime.
Officials say many of the fake documents used the names, dates of birth, and social security numbers of real U.S. citizens.
There was a real problem with the fact that just with a few $100s, people could get fake licenses, fake social security cards, LPRs, and other identification documents, in many instances of real Americans whose identities are being stolen.
So that shows you he's out there. He's doing the work. Crackdown focus on protecting South Carolinians from fraud and lawlessness. Now compare that with the Democrat side of the aisle. Footage of Charleston County Democrat Party Chairman and gubernatorial candidate William Mullins McLeod, Jr. during a wild arrest. Charleston County Democrat Party Chairman, current South Carolina Governor candidate William Mullins McLeod, went on an insane, unhinged rant, screamed profanities, threatened to kick the teeth in of rivals, and yelled at cops. At the time, he was charged with public disorderly conduct and was allegedly high on drugs. This looks like this is the video from the police cruiser. Oh, boy.
If this is going where I think it could be heading, I think I just figured out that the President of the United States is my cousin. Okay, so trust me, at this point, nothing is crazier than you and me either being related or you being not guilty. Okay, that's just the way my brain has been trained. Either you and me are related or you're not guilty. That's the only way to get from me in this ass police car that, oh, by the way, is owned by the finest city in America. Okay, so it's not the car, it's the people with those guns and badges that make it corrupt. Because the cars that look just like this, when they take the people's $9 billion door to door, door to door, and I know where some of that cash is. But I got to ask somebody that's extremely close to me, that name you do not know, whether I have his permission to tell the world. That secret may remain buried, and that's fine with me, because I can take you out if I need to down the road real soon. Or in the morning I wake up and there will be a fair and just equitable. See, equitable remedy is the court where there's no jury. You follow me? So when it comes to dividing land, like disputes, you got one dude or one gal. But you know what? Watch this. There was a black man, Masternecker in Richland County.
Okay, I've had enough of this guy. Just unhinged, wearing no shirt in the back of a police car. That's the Democrat opposition, guys. So what does it all really mean? It means South Carolina is becoming a proving ground for the post-Trump Republican formula. Enforce the law, back the police, punish fraud, protect legal workers, and stop pretending every public crisis needs another study committee. Wilson's campaign ties illegal immigration to identity theft, job fraud. It ties weak judging to dead victims and broken families. It ties left-wing street chaos to immediate prosecution, not negotiation. And that message fits this moment because voters are exhausted by disorder. They want leaders who will act, right? So the phrase may be blunt, but it works because people understand it instantly. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's not just a line. It's becoming a governing doctrine on the right. And this is why South Carolina, why the race, why it deserves national attention. Alan Wilson isn't simply asking for a promotion from attorney general to governor. He's offering a state-level version of the same enforcement-first approach that has energized the America First movement under President Trump. Secure communities, protect citizens, prosecute fraud, defend jobs, and make institutions answer for failure. The contrast could not be clearer. On one side, a Republican making the case for order, accountability, and consequences. On the other, Democrats tied yet again to chaos, excuses, and public meltdown footage and tells voters everything that they need to know. If this model keeps on winning, expect more Republican candidates across the country to adopt it fast. And that's the real story. So I want to hear from you. Should every Republican candidate run on law, order, and consequences first? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And remember to share this with someone in South Carolina, because you know why? Your vote tomorrow could make all the difference. And if you're new here, subscribe to the Next News Network for the stories that the left-wing media will never tell you straight. Most importantly, though, text the words raw feed to that number on the screen, 844-840-4963. That's how we cut out the middleman and go direct, right to you. Right, when the algorithm decides to show you CNN or MSNBC spin, or the notifications never arrive, I will send them to you direct. And make sure you celebrate America 250 with us. It's right around the corner, folks. Check out the merch shelf below this video. Pick up something you like, and let's celebrate together.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.